Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Making It in Manhattan. Today we're going to be talking about a really important topic, which is the struggles of social media. As someone who puts themselves out there daily on social media, it can be really difficult. And so essentially what I'm calling this episode is how social media made me think I was ugly, which is very blunt, but it also is real. And I think we need to talk about how putting ourselves out there and hate comments and comparison really does impact us. So let's just dive in. I think for someone like me whose world revolves around taking videos of themselves, taking photos of themselves, you're looking at yourself 24/7 and then you're posting it publicly for the world to essentially scrutinize, pick apart, and have something to say about it. And while I would love to sit here and tell you guys that I'm above it all and none of it bothers me or hurts my feelings, that is 100,000,000% not true. I'm a human and I fortunately but unfortunately also see everything. If you're DMing me on any platform, it is me. I answer all of my DMs and I'm very engaged. And so I'm seeing everything. If there's hate comments, if there's love comments, whatever it might be. So it's been hard navigating it all because there's no rule book or guidebook essentially to dealing with social media and the pressures and struggles and scrutiny that comes along with it. But at the same time, social media is a beautiful and amazing place to connect with people, to reach people you maybe would have never been able to reach before, to discover new brands and designers, and to ultimately inspire and uplift people. So it's a catch-22, and it's hard to sometimes continue pushing yourself to want to make content and put yourself out there in such a raw and real way, but also knowing that at least once a day probably you're going to be dealt some sort of really harsh comment. So how do I deal with this and how do I get past this, and also how can I teach you guys to deal with it too? Because even if you're not an influencer or a creator, I'm sure you've felt insecure or lesser than by looking at beautiful women on social media and men, beautiful women and men on social media. And, it doesn't always feel great to look at someone and think, why don't I look like that? Or, why do they have the perfect nose, the perfect jaw, the perfect lips, eyes, whatever it might be, and I look like this? So I think today we're going to kind of dive into where this all started essentially for me on my journey, how I deal with it, and how I can give you guys kind of any sort of antidotes or tips or tricks to deal with this as well, because we're all just navigating it together. I'm definitely not a pro in terms of giving anybody, advice. I'm not a therapist, but this is how I deal with it and I overcome it. And I also don't let it stop me, because obviously I'm still posting all the time. I'm still putting myself out there in a really raw and real way. So it hasn't stopped me yet. So let's kind of just dive into some personal stories or things I've dealt with. So growing up, I loved the way I looked. I never thought that there was absolutely anything wrong with my appearance. I grew up in, a very Italian household. I'm Sicilian and I'm also Irish and German and French and a bunch of other things. So I grew up with people with very strong features as well. My grandma and my dad and my sisters, we all have strong noses and we have Italian noses, European noses. So I grew up with people that all looked like me. So I never thought there was anything wrong with it. I loved the way I looked. I loved my features. It wasn't honestly until years and years later that I was starting to post on social media and stuff that I started being almost told that there was something wrong with my appearance, which is terrible when you think about it. I think if I'm honestly actually going to pinpoint the very first time that I was cyberbullied, is what I'll call it, was when I was in high school. there was this thing called Formspring, and it was this essentially like anonymous platform where people could submit questions to each other. It was through Facebook, though, I believe. And it was dumb and silly, but people would honestly send questions to each other or comments. You could like send people like messages too. So it'd be like, I have a crush on you. Like so dumb or whatever. But I would like barely get any questions on mine or like anonymous questions. But one day I opened it and I had like 5 new questions. And I was like, oh, this is so weird. Like, I wonder what anybody has to say to me. Like, so excited. And all of the questions were saying like essentially like making fun of my appearance and my nose and the way I looked. And I was honestly shocked because I'd never, ever, ever in my entire life, I think I was a senior in high school, thought there was anything wrong with my appearance, like whatsoever. Like we all look different. No one like looks better than anyone else. Everyone is absolutely beautiful and stunning in their own unique way. But I also never disliked myself, if you could, you know, if that makes any sense. I'm a little kid. I'm like 16. Like why? I mean, thankfully I grew up surrounded by other women who looked like me in my family. But so that passed. Like I deleted the questions, like knew it was probably this one bully in my school, like who would never say it to my face, like said it like behind my back. And then moved on, like never thought anything of it. College happens, like love the way I look. I'm so confident in college. Like college was honestly when I first started experimenting with my style because it was the first time I ever didn't have a uniform, which was also like a big game changer for me. So that was the first time I was ever like shopping and buying clothes to wear to school. And like, it was really an exciting time. So then, you know, graduate college, work at Teen Vogue and InStyle, and then eventually go out on my own to become my own boss. Now, this is like years later. I am now building my own social media career, and I'm approached by 17 magazine because I was friends with a girl who was an editor there. And they were starting this Instagram series where they would film, you know, some girl's outfit of the day who they thought had cool style, and they wanted to do one of the videos with me, and they would tag me and essentially like, you know, promote my outfit of the day on 17 magazine, which I was super excited about. I thought that was great. So I was like, of course I'm going to do this. This is so exciting. And I remember I wore like, honestly, probably like an I Heart New York t-shirt, very similar to today. This M. Missoni skirt that was like a really cool like printed skirt, and like fun sneakers or something, and like a cool pair of glasses. So I do the video, comes out great, like all's said and done. They post the video like, I don't even know, a couple days later. And it was the first time I think that I was like being posted on someone else's platform that had a larger following. Obviously 17 magazine is 17 magazine. And so I don't think that I was personally ready for being publicly put out to like a bunch of people who knew nothing about me, didn't know who I was, didn't know about my style, my career journey, literally absolutely nothing about me. So they were just judging what they saw. That was it, which was how I looked and my outfit. And so on the post, someone commented, and honestly, it was only like one person, but they were commenting something terrible, like, oh, like, go get a nose job or something to that extent. And I was so shocked. I was like, why would someone say that? Like, I love my nose. I'm so confused. Like, nothing's wrong with my nose. Like, I love the way I look. I don't understand. And funny enough, one of my followers at the time, and I honestly didn't even have that many followers at the time, she was defending me in the comments, which was so sweet, and just kind of, you know, putting the quote-unquote troll in their place. But so my point of this story is social media made me think I was ugly. Social media is the place that started pointing out things that they thought were flaws. So just because I didn't have a small nose like everybody else, just because, I don't know, like I have this or that or whatever, I wear glasses and I don't look like everybody else and I don't fit into a box and into a mold of what society thinks is pretty, therefore I shouldn't have a following and I must be ugly. Like these things that are so silly and so dumb, but people feel the need to comment and to call out things. And it's sad because if no one had ever commented on my nose in my whole life, I'd be sitting here today with you guys right now being like, I absolutely love the way I look. I don't think there's anything wrong with me. I would never change. And I'm not even going to sit here and tell you that I've now never thought about getting a nose job, because now the idea has flashed in my head and my deepest and worst insecurities have come out. And, I'm not going to let it get the best of me, because I do love the way that my nose looks. It is part of me, and it is part of my heritage, and it's part of my family history, and it's part of a really strong history of women who also have this nose. So no, I'm not going to change the way I look, but I know that also people's comments about the way that I look and wanting to call out and essentially say that they don't like the way I look is also not going to stop. So I think something to keep in mind for all of us is like, yes, though we're putting ourselves out there publicly online, that doesn't mean that we're signing up for people to scrutinize and to pick apart the way we look. So, that's my journey with my nose, just only. And then, of course, with my glasses, guys, we got to talk about the glasses, because we, if you're listening to this, you probably know I wear glasses and you love my glasses, but you guys would be surprised, I think, by the amount of comments I get from people telling me, hey, I would look better without my glasses, or people who think my glasses are fake and I'm just wearing these for my health. No, I cannot see without these. I need them to see. And so essentially, over the past 6 years, instead of being like, oh my gosh, I'm going to hide this, like, I hate my glasses, I decided to do like the complete opposite and be like, I'm going to make glasses part of my signature look. And I'm going to find the coolest and the most fun pairs of glasses, and I'm going to learn how to style my glasses as part of my look. Like, just like putting on a handbag or putting on a pair of shoes or rings or earrings, like that's how my glasses now are to me. My glasses are like my favorite accessory. I love wearing them. But of course, like, people have something to say and people have something to comment. And I think what I'm trying to tell you guys is, I post a lot of positive. I post my happy outfits, my vlogs, my journeys around New York, my trips to Paris, and this and that. But I think it's important for you to know, like, not everything is good and happy. And I have days where I'm like really, really low and I'm struggling with these comments and learning how to navigate it all and not let it get to me. And all I want to ever do is be a good role model for you guys and to teach you how to deal with this online hate. But I'm dealing with it as well. And it gets easier with time. That's the only thing I can say, is that it does get easier with time. And essentially, it sounds terrible, but like, you get used to it. Like, now if I get a comment about my nose, I'm like, haha, original, and I delete it. I'm like, wow, this was really unique, and I delete the comment. I think something that we need to address is that it is, and I'm going to repeat this, it is okay to block people. This is your platform. This is your, essentially, like, your safe space. Even if it's public and it's not private, that doesn't matter. It's still your safe space, and no one has the right to come in to like your home, essentially, and make you ever feel less than or not good enough. I love blocking people. Like, I'm just at a point where like, you don't even get one chance anymore. Because I used to like give people one chance. But if I go on and like I have a mean comment from you and it's like just something that like is really rude and mean and doesn't even warrant like a forgiveness, then I'm essentially like, then you don't need to be here. You don't need to be here. You don't need to be part of the happiness and the color and the fun. Like, block. And you have every right to block people. Don't feel bad about blocking people. If someone is making you feel bad, you need to block them, because we all need to protect our space. Mental health, as I've gotten older, and what I've realized is your mental health is the most important thing out there. Finding true happiness and peace in life, and it could be with the littlest things. For me, like, I'm so happy just like sitting on my couch with my cats and like watching a good movie, like, and just tuning out the world. Like, find like your moments of joy in your life and your happy spaces. It could be your favorite latte at like your corner cafe, or just like walking through your favorite park, or seeing someone that just like makes you feel good. Like, there's so many things it could be, but essentially protecting your space. And social media is a way of the world. It's part of who we are and part of putting yourself out there. You know, you don't have to be on social media. And if you want to get rid of social media, do it. Like recently, my brother just like deleted all of his social media, but he's a teacher. So like, who cares? Doesn't matter. But like social media just wasn't making him feel good anymore. And one day we were talking, he's like, yeah, I just got rid of it all. I was like, good for you. Like if you want to get rid of it all, get rid of it. Like you don't have to, no one's making you be on it. But if you want to be on it and you need to protect your space, go for it. And just on another topic of like people commenting just absolutely absurd things, you guys will never even guess or believe some of the comments that I've been getting recently. So if you've been following me for a while, you probably know that I got married in November, which has been so amazing. And we need to do an episode, honestly, just about the wedding. So stay tuned for that because that'll be a fun one. But since I got married, people all of a sudden think it's okay. And literally, I can't even believe I'm like saying this, but you would be flabbergasted by the amount of comments I've gotten from people asking me if I am currently, not if I'm trying to, but if I'm currently pregnant. Like, I feel like it's coming from a place of love, and I feel like it's coming from like a place of like they're excited for me, but there's two parts to this. Number one, like, it's not okay to ever ask anybody if they're pregnant unless you 100% know they're pregnant. Like, if someone's even trying, I would not even ask them if they're pregnant because you just never know of complications people are dealing with, struggles with getting pregnant. Like, you should just never ask somebody if they're pregnant. Even if it's like a close friend and they're trying, like, let them bring it up. And if you follow me, think of me as your close friend. Don't bring that up. Number two, like, people fluctuate in weight, people gain weight, and I'm not even saying I've gained weight because not you guys, but some people have now gotten in my head making me think I've gained weight because I've gotten comments lately asking me if I'm pregnant. And it's funny because I talked to Dave about it and I'm like, why are people commenting this? I have absolutely no idea. I feel like I look exactly the same. And I think people just think it's okay now that I'm married to assume that like maybe I'm trying to get pregnant, but that's not something okay to assume ever with anybody. And so recently this week, somebody actually commented again, oh my goodness, like, you look pregnant. Like, I'm not even kidding. That's what it said. So I commented back, and because it was someone that followed me, and I said, listen, like, I know this is not coming from a place of hate, but like, please never comment like that somebody is pregnant, like whether it's me or somebody else, because number one, that could really, really affect eating disorders, body dysmorphia. Like, you don't know what I've struggled with, what anybody else has struggled with in the past. And like, the second you comment like that I potentially look pregnant, and I'm definitely not, for anyone listening to this, it makes me think that I look like I've gained weight. So that's the first one, body dysmorphia and just messing with like the way you look. Number two, as I said, like, if someone's struggling with getting pregnant, like, you just never want to bring that up. Like, you don't know. That's like just not something you write. And her response was honestly like heartfelt. She was like, oh no, I didn't mean it. It was because you looked like you've gained weight. I said it because you just look like you're glowing lately. And I read that and I was like, almost like the air was let out of a balloon, because I was like, I didn't even answer it because I was just like, I'm glowing because I've been killing it in my career lately. I just got married. I'm honestly in a very healthy mental state right now, and I'm feeling very good. I'm not struggling. I'm not depressed right now. Like, I'm really happy and in a good space. And that's why I'm glowing. And so for you to have to assume that a woman's life needs to feel fulfilled and she can only be glowing because she's pregnant is just like not okay and not a good thing. A woman is not only fulfilled when she has a man, and a woman's not only fulfilled when she has a child. A woman is fulfilled when she wants to be fulfilled with her career, with her ambitions. Maybe she wants to write a book. Maybe she wants to travel, build a company, whatever it might be. But we as women are not only like, okay, check, you have a husband. Okay, check, you have a kid. Okay, now you're a well-rounded woman. That to me is like the worst and most detrimental thing you can do to another woman, because we are so much more than our relationships. We're so much more than our bodies. We're so much more than breeding. Like, we're so much more than all of that. So not to go on a tangent, but if you're listening to this and you want to have a kid, or you never want to have a kid, or you're struggling to have a kid, or you're in a relationship, or you never want to be in a relationship, or you just want to travel and you feel like pressures from society because you're getting older and you feel like, oh my goodness, I need to settle down, I need to do this, I need to do that. You don't need to do anything that you do not want to do. We are in a beautiful generation now as women where this is like the first time that we get to write the rules. Women are having kids later in their life than ever. They're getting married later in their life than ever. And there's just absolutely no rules and no guidebook that you need to follow. Whatever you want to do, whatever life you want to create for yourself, that is the correct life. And don't let anyone or anything, social media, society, whatever it might be, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So now to get back into more of a lighthearted note, and then, aside from hate comments, there's just straight up silly comments. And there's just comments that, sometimes you just need to comment back to them just to like call someone out, or just like, sometimes it's your platform, you just need to write back. So the other week, one of my Paris Fashion Week looks, if you guys saw it, it was this amazing poofy pink dress that was from Amy Lynn. And the bottom, if you look at the photos or the videos, was kind of like this plasticky looking material. And so essentially it was not supposed to be steamed or ironed or anything like that. Like, the bottom of the dress was supposed to look like kind of wrinkly the way it was, or crinkled, like a crinkly kind of fabric. If you go to my profile, you'll see it. I styled it with these amazing pink tights, pink shoes, a pink beret. It was kind of like a monochrome moment. I called it like my Emily in Paris, like American in Paris, like gaudy, like New Yorker in Paris moment, with like a beret and a faux fur jacket, like, So I posted the photos and the video, and like, I loved the look, and you guys all loved it too. But one person commented and just wrote, "Wow, this girl is so stupid. She doesn't even know how to use a steamer." And I was just so shocked because, A, as I just told you guys, the fabric is not supposed to be steamed. And B, like, why would you write that on somebody's video? So again, I feel like sometimes people, when they write hateful comments, they just think that like you as the creator is not going to see it, which is so wild and so bizarre to me. So I wrote back and I just nicely explained. I was like, hey, like with this fabric, it's not supposed to be steamed, like blah, blah, blah. All, and like, so nice, smiley face. All she writes back is, well, it looks like shit. That's what she writes back. And I was like, hey, well, like, listen, if you don't have anything nice to say, like, you don't need to say anything. Like, it's okay. Like, you could just move on. Like, no need to comment anything negative. And she was like, well, if you don't want negative comments, make your profile private. And I was like, no, like, I am used to negative comments. I get it. But when it's something like this where, like, there's, like, no right or wrong. Like, the dress was not supposed to be steamed. Like, it's supposed to be like crinkly like that. Like, we're just fighting about something that absolutely makes no sense. So she was telling me, she's like, get a backbone, you snowflake, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I just could not believe it. And so I gave her a couple of comments back and then I blocked her because it was just like, there was no hearing it out with this person. And as I said, like, when you're fighting with trolls, it's like sometimes just like banging your head against a wall because you're trying to nicely explain like, hey, like, no, it's supposed to look like this for a reason, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. And they just don't want to hear it. They don't care. They feel strongly about the way they feel, and that's it. So that's something to keep in mind. Like, you're just not going to win it all, guys. Like, it's just not always going to be a winner, and that's okay. And so, my making it a Manhattan tip to kind of everything I just shared with you guys is like, there are always going to be people that have something nasty and negative to say. Like, there just are. It's just life. Whatever platform you're on, there's always going to be someone that doesn't love what you're doing. But know that, like, you are beautiful. And I'm looking at you like you are beautiful I don't even need to see you to know you're beautiful. We are all beautiful in our own way, in our own unique ways, and we don't need the validation of random people in our comments on social media telling us that we fit into a mold or that we check all the boxes of, okay, yeah, small nose, big lips, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, like we are all beautiful in our own way, and anyone who says otherwise is just wrong. Also, something I wanted to say is that the people who often make those nasty or negative comments are usually just unhappy with themselves and unhappy with their own lives. And so then they're ultimately projecting those feelings onto you. I remember one time, it was honestly when Reels first started on Instagram. This was just like, again, such a bizarre thing. But I had this one video go viral, and this girl felt the need to write on my video, and I'll never forget it, but she wrote, "You should stop spending so much money on all of your clothes and spend more money on plastic surgery to like fix your face or whatever." So I screenshotted her comment with her handle, and I put it right in my story so everyone could see it. And then I don't know what my followers did or said, but like a couple minutes later, I get a message from her being like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't even think you would see that. Like, I'm just having a really bad day personally, and I just felt like commenting something mean on a random person's video would make me feel better." And I wrote back to her, and I was like, and the best part was in her bio on Instagram was like, "God first, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, girl, like, what? You're commenting terrible things. Like, it's always that person. You guys know what I'm saying. You know what I mean. So anyway, she apologized, and I said, "Listen, like, I just hope this was like a learning lesson for you. Like, don't say things like that. Like, people see them. Like, people see these comments. They're not just going to like a robot or to an abyss. So just keep that in mind." So as I said, when people feel the need to leave hateful comments, it's really not about you. It's about them. So just keep that in mind. And now to answer one of your guys' questions. The question is, I want to start posting on social media and, working towards becoming an influencer. But how do I deal with these, hate comments, honestly? Because I get messages from a lot of people that they want to start posting, they want to start putting themselves out there, but they're just really nervous and they're scared, honestly. I think partially is, yes, they're scared of like random people, but I think they're also scared of like people they know's comments. So like people from high school judging them, people from college judging them. Like, what are they going to think? What are they going to say? And I always say, people are going to hate and make fun of you until you're successful. Once you're, in the beginning, you're posting your little get ready with me's and your little outfit videos, and people want to say something or make fun of you or whatever it might be. But the second you start landing brand deals or things start taking off for you and you start getting invited to Fashion Week or whatever it might be, that's when, people come out of the woodwork and they're like, "Congratulations, so happy for you. Like, this is so great." So, there's going to be hate. There's going to be hate. It sucks. But you got to tune out the noise. The only way, you're going to know is if you try. Like, you don't want to live with a regret of like, I didn't put myself out there. I didn't try. I didn't post because I was too nervous, because I was too scared. And I get it. Believe me, it is scary and it is daunting. But I would rather live knowing I tried than I didn't try. I would never want to have a regret in my life that I didn't take a chance, that I didn't put myself out there, that I didn't try something new or different or scary because I was scared and because I was seeking others' validation and because I was just so worried about what other people were going to say. You can also filter comments on most social media platforms. So if there's certain words you don't want people to be able to comment on your posts and things like that, you can filter those words so that they aren't able to post them. Blocking people, of course. And then if you need to limit your time on social media, do it. It's fine to take a detox or a cleanse and just like take some time off of social media. If you need a week off, if you need a month off, whatever it might be, post when you're in a good headspace and you're feeling good and you're feeling positive and you're feeling excited about posting, because that's when it shines through the most and it feels most genuine in everything that you're doing when you're in a happy and good and healthy headspace. So again, as I say all the time, life is too short. You don't want to live with regrets. Just do it. And people will always have something to say until there's nothing left to say. You know what I mean? Okay, so now just to wrap it up. This has been, I know, a heavy episode and a deep episode, but I think it's an important episode that, we have this open dialogue and that we have this open conversation. And for you guys to just know that if you're feeling this way, you're not crazy. You are not alone. So many other people are feeling this way. And, we all just got to stick together as, women, as people in the social media community, and uplift and empower each other, because that's the only way that it's going to get better. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. Please leave me a comment or a DM on the Making It in Manhattan Instagram and let me know what you guys think. Leave me a review. Keep me posted on future topics you want to hear on the podcast, and I will see you guys soon.